What up? Movie J, the brother from the ancient mother. Yet another Ed Space review. Whew, man, I'm excited for this one because it's like, I love rap, guys. I like it a lot because it is a way for us to find power by turning language around and breaking it up and stretching the capacity of what is possible with English, with our own individual and indigenous tones, and understanding that this Tower of Babel that broke into the different variations of word really is one synchronized harmony of how people come to understand themselves. So the one thing that I really found myself drawn to as a kid till this very moment is the fact that words contain within them so much power. And I think why I love rap in that way is because it doesn't attempt to be some kind of tweaking of the voice. You're not singing, so you're not trying to use the voice in ways that are beyond the capacity of language. You're tapping into your actual voice. You're finding ways to actually speak your message across rhythmically. You're finding ways to chant your pain. You're finding ways to yell at your anxieties and comfort your insecurities with the hope of what is possible. So in that spirit of possibility, South Africa has had a rich tradition of lyricists who have never really broken into the commercial mold, mainly because most of them aren't really interested in making everyday music like that, and quote-unquote everyday music doesn't always allow for the verbose and hyper-complex MC to be easily accessible, because most of the time when we listen to music we just really don't want to think. We want to zone out. And I think for rappers whose emphasis is on a kind of technical prowess and complexity, it's thinking music. And sometimes when you do music that goes into thought too much, it ends up not being music. But that's beautiful, as long as you understand and own up to that. And I, for one, feel that one of the myths that rappers are increasingly destroying is the fact that South Africa cannot appreciate real complex lyricism. Bullshit. Capitalism does not allow for room for complex lyricism to truly swim in a place where it's like the most commercially viable thing. But there's a market for it, because there's a market for people who just really want to sit down and listen to motherfuckers talk about things in illustrious ways. And one of these motherfuckers who talks about things in beautifully illustrious ways is the man formerly known as the Gingerbread Man, who evolved as Ginger Trill, Trilly, one of the most skilled lyricists, probably most feared too, in the game. Somebody who's low-key been bodying features from inception. Somebody who as an MC made your favorites take a second glance at and brings chills to the spine of the rappers you regard as the greatest. But somebody whose hype has never really been fully acknowledged because, well, he's never really had a good song. He's never really had a good album. And again, as I said previously, it might be because that's not what he's trying to do. And because his spirit is not in it, it kind of feels and comes across when he's been influenced to try and do it. And I think in the past, this has been the Achilles heel, Ginger, is that it always felt like he was trying to inhabit spaces that he didn't feel fully comfortable in, and was as a result kind of artistically compromising himself, because this is somebody who's really dope in that he's hyper complex, but he's swaggy as fuck. Like, he's got a way of rapping with such luxury and such effortless ease and confidence, which oozes and drips a kind of, I am so superior. And yet he does it in ways that don't kind of suffocate songs. And that's a really rare skill. And I think in his switch up into kind of incorporating more of a nag, quote unquote, it's been a beautiful growth process to witness, and it culminates in this. Culminates in a piece that really is anti-music. And I say anti-music because there's a whole genre of music which isn't really supposed to be consumed musically. And what it is that it's more of artistic spoken word poetry pieces that are done in the context of the rap canvas. And this is what this is. It's rap art. And rap art is really about zoning in and melding into this beautiful journey of how words can be used to illustrate images. It's closing your eyes and allowing somebody's voice to guide you into so many intricate pockets of literacy. It's literally reading a book by listening to somebody. And I think that kind of art is beginning to increasingly assert itself up in Zans, because we're in a new age. I wanted to say era and age, and it came across as air. But anyways, we're in this new time, and this time says we don't have to be shackled to these rules of fitting into neat little genres for award ceremonies to give us fake gratitude at the end of the day, only for industrial benefit of corporates. What we're in now is an age where you are the corporate, you are the industry. You are the one that decides how your market moves by understanding the identity of what you do. And now there's a free roaming market space that allows for you to just kind of skip all that other bullshit and go to the people who like what you do. Instead of playing into people who might, stretching to people who could, you can now have the beautiful, beautiful privilege of just saying, you know what, I just want to rap. And this is what Ginger does so effortlessly and masterfully for the project. He just raps. He raps his ass off, guys. Like, this guy's rapping. Like, these are some of the heaviest bars we've heard this year. No cap. The man is growing as an MC, and I think what this is literally in its title. It's a moment. And it's a moment where he allows himself to be free-flowing in his love for rap, to just rap about rapping and allow that to be what matters. And because of this honesty, because of this anecdotal story of a man who's tried to kind of compromise on himself in different ways or stretch himself to the capacity of being more industry friendly, he allows himself to finally be an artist who speaks from a direct place of what he's about. And what Ginger's about is rap, the art form of lyricism. And for all those who appreciate this, this is definitely a project which holds its weight as among some of South Africa's most powerful lyrics to date. Because Ginger has a very American accent, but the reason he's so interesting to listen to is that he always finds pockets of bringing you back into the context of this country. He could have easily become a Reese, but he's in a place where he allows for the twang to jump on words, and he paints a picture that is so really based on what the experiences of South Africans is. And I think he's learned that from the greats, and in doing that he's been able to tap into himself and be himself and just honestly just give an unfiltered opinion of where Ginger the man is right now. And where he is in a place of fuck it. He's thrown every formula out of the window, and now what he's saying is, I'm giving you a moment to understand who I truly am, and do what you may with it after that. And this is not something that I'm making to last, because I've been rapping for so long that I'm constantly growing and changing. And I think by titling it Burn After Reading, what it implies for me, musically, sonically, thematically, structurally, is that this is a project which wasn't made to last, but that's exactly what makes it so interesting to listen to. A lot of these verses aren't verses that locate themselves in themes that are dominant in the human experience. There's no real story of heroism, trial and struggle. This guy's just talking about rap. He's talking about the challenges that happen as a rapper. He's talking about the bars. He's going into it in ways where it isn't about anything other than his own skill. Therefore, if we're ever gonna go back to this album, it's gonna be to say, you know Ginger Trill can rap, right? And somebody says, prove it to me, and you go back to it. But what this is that it's an instantaneous moment. It's a spontaneous reflex from Ginger's skill. It says we can make art that doesn't have to last, but when we make art, whether we make it to last or not, art that comes from the heart, art that comes from an individual place of true authenticity, always, and I mean always, carries itself with way more grace and way more appeal than art that desperately tries to play at industry tropes. So thank you to Ginger for giving us a testament to why rapping for rap's sake is important. Thank you for the world that we're being in that can allow an artist like that to finally navigate and be in a place where they give us the kind of art that comes from them. So now, for the final rating, what am I going to give it? So ultimately, I am placing this project in the category of the way beyond average, but because of just the fact that its brevity and its nonchalantness doesn't allow for it to kind of stick out sonically. We've heard these kind of beats before. It's the laid back kind of open, sparsy style. Ginger himself is not the kind of MC who is starkly different. He kind of sounds like a whole lot of rappers you've heard before, but it's how he carries himself in his own voice that allows for his individuality to stick out. What do I mean by his own voice? I mean, it's how the man is able to take his influence and his growth in the game and find a way of constantly challenging his tonality, find a way of rapping in a place that registers as real dialogue and not just somebody reading in front of a mic or spitting in their own heads. Ginger knows how to rap to the audience, and he raps it in a way where it feels extremely personal. So for me, I'm giving this a solid 7.5 out of 10, 8 on a really great day, because what it is another moment for South African lyricism, just in hip-hop and rap for rap's sake, as a moment that deserves our valid appreciation, and as a moment that has now come into fruition of being able to be appreciated by the general marketplace. So shout out to Ginger Trill. Shout out to the fact that we're now learning that we don't always have to play to these rules that are distant from who we truly want to be, and that we can find ways of taking those very same principles and remodeling them in ways that are going to work for us commercially. I hope that this is the beginning of a wave in South Africa, a wave where spoken word art can truly be appreciated in audio format without the spoken word artists feeling like they have to pander to some kind of current and trendy musicality.